Hello, this is Ha from Academic Skills. Today I'm going to talk about ways to connect ideas in your academic writing. Academic writing is usually about identifying and developing a position on an academic topic through evidence and analysis. But having a list of ideas to support your position is not enough. You need to glue them together into a coherent flow. This video explains why connecting ideas in academic writing is crucial for getting your message across and how you can do it effectively. First, think about a book or article or on any topic that you've enjoyed reading. What do you remember about it? Most of the time, we enjoy and remember readings where all the details stick well together to develop a clear central idea or story. So, if you want your reader to enjoy and remember your writing, you too need to find ways to link ideas effectively. Connecting ideas in your writing not only helps you to make a good impression on your reader, it also helps you to communicate your argument coherently and cohesively. Now, think about how the book or article you've enjoyed reading glues ideas together to make its point. If possible, have a look at it and try to identify what it is that links ideas so well. You can also use a reading you've had a hard time understanding to analyze what's missing for you. There are three components to a well-connected piece of writing: content relevance, structure and development, and linking language. In order to connect ideas in your writing, you first need to make sure all the content you write is relevant to your topic. No linking technique can connect inherently unrelated ideas. Use your critical thinking to decide which ideas make logical sense in your writing and which ideas should be left out. To make it easier, write down your argument or central message on the topic, also called the thesis statement, on a separate piece of paper. Then, assess whether every sentence in your writing contributes to this thesis statement. You should also put the thesis statement in the introduction of your writing to help your reader to understand the main point you're making. So, the first thing to do to connect ideas in your writing is to establish a central message to which all ideas can be linked back. After deciding on relevant contents, it's time to devise a sensible structure for them. Ideas can only be connected verbally when they are topic relevant and ordered in a way that shows progression of the argument. It takes time and hard work to determine an effective structure for your writing. There are three levels of structure you need to work at: whole text, paragraphs, and sentences. At the whole text level, make sure you lead with a thesis statement stating the main point you're making and end with a conclusion reinforcing the main point. At the paragraph level, state a smaller idea that supports the main point in a topic sentence, then elaborate it through evidence and analysis. At the sentence level, information should be ordered so that old information precedes new information. This is how readers can be prepared to understand the new information. In this example, notice that the second sentence begins with short-term memory, which was already introduced in the first sentence. It then adds a new comment about what short-term memory is. Similarly, the second part of this sentence begins with the phrase, "This information," which was introduced earlier, then adds a new comment on what happens to it. This sequencing helps connect ideas within and between sentences. If you put new information before old information, the reader will be confused as the flow of ideas will be disrupted. So, We've learned that to connect ideas in writing, we need content relevance and structured information at whole text, paragraph, and sentence levels. This example comes from a much bigger piece of writing on the topic, Public Aesthetic Preferences and Efficient Water Use in Urban Parks. How is the writing connected to the topic? How are sentences in a paragraph linked together? Pause the video to think about these. In this example, in terms of content, all the sentences are relevant to the topic through the repetition of key words. That is, they talk about either efficient water use in urban parks or public aesthetic preferences in an effort to balance these. In terms of structure, the first paragraph goes from the main idea in the topic sentence to specific evidence and analysis, to an evaluation of the current approach, which leads to the main argument of the writing. This progression shows a structural connection between ideas. Also notice how old information, which is usually a reference to a previous sentence, precedes new information from a sentence to the next. This creates a sense of continuity and flow. You may also find that there's a certain type of language that clearly shows connections between ideas, both within and between sentences. This linking language involves referring backward to previously mentioned information using words such as this. You can use other words to refer backward in your writing. Linking language also helps you to link forward, flagging new information for the reader. Phrases such as the following, as follows, below, and next help make a smooth transition from one point to another. Here are some examples using these phrases. Apart from linking backward and forward, there are other types of connection between ideas and linking words for them. For example, and is to add information, however is to show contrast, therefore is to show cause and effect, although is to qualify, and while is to signal concurrency. Can you list some more linking words? It's important to use linking words carefully. You can confuse your reader and weaken your argument if you use a linking word that doesn't match the relationship between the ideas you're trying to connect. Linking language can also include repeated or parallel grammatical structures, which emphasize that the ideas being expressed have the same level of importance. This is an example of parallel structures. Notice that the same grammatical structure is used after not only and, but also, to imply that these impacts are of equal importance. While some repetition is necessary to connecting ideas in your writing, excessive repetition leads to ineffective writing. Consider using synonyms and categories to solve this problem, such as in these examples. In the first example, ban is a synonym of prohibit, and in the second example, fruit is the category of banana. When linking different paragraphs, you can use linking phrases such as these. You can also look back before you move forward by referring back to the previous paragraph, such as in this example. It's always important to make paragraphs part of a coherent whole text. They mustn't be isolated units unrelated to the whole piece. I've talked about 3 ways to connect ideas in writing: through content relevance, through structure and development, and through linking language. You should aim to have all of these elements in your writing. You can learn from good writing models, but it's also important to practice using a variety of ways to connect ideas in your own writing. For more tips and resources, search for Academic Skills UniMelb.